Hi, Leawood family. Thanks for taking a look at this weekly update video, and I hope that this is helpful and informative to you in the life and happenings of our church. We've done the last couple of weeks on these videos. Just want to open up with a passage of Scripture that I've been reading through, and hope will be a blessing to you as well as we consider really what Christ is and just how much, as the theme of Hebrews is, just how much better Jesus is. And in Hebrews chapter 3, the writer of Hebrews brings up Moses and how Jesus, though Moses was a very impactful individual and that God used him to bring his covenant people Israel out of Egypt, how Jesus is even greater than Moses. So let me read Hebrews chapter 3, verses 1 through 6 for us. It says, "Therefore, holy brothers and sisters who share in a heavenly calling, consider Jesus, the apostle and high priest of our confession. He was faithful to the one who appointed him, just as Moses was in all God's household. For Jesus is considered worthy of more glory than Moses, just as the builder has more honor than the house. Now every house is built by someone, but the one who built everything is God. Moses was faithful as a servant in all of God's household, as a testimony to what would be said in the future. But Christ was faithful as a son over his household, and we are that household, if we hold on to our confidence and the hope in which we boast." So as we consider Christ and we worship him and follow him, live for him, I would encourage us to remember that Jesus is greater and better than Moses, and we are a part of his household, the church that he has built by his sacrifice on the cross and through his resurrection. A few announcements just want to mention to you, as if you're watching the news right now, you're seeing a lot of political leaders and governors beginning to talk about when the economy will be opening up. And so that is something we're keeping an eye on, because we as the church want to gather together in person. We can't wait for that, and we want that to happen as soon as possible. But one thing that we are doing here at Leawood, the leadership of Leawood, we are praying through and discussing what that will look like for us. We want to be back together worshiping in person as soon as possible, but we also want to be careful, and we want to be sure that no one gets sick when that time comes. Many of us have gotten familiar with this curve that we're seeing, and our efforts that we've been doing together over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks have in quarantine and social distancing have been in order to flatten that curve. Well, one thing we're going to do here at Leawood, whenever everything is opened back up, we're going to keep an eye on things before we return, because we want to make sure there's not a secondary spike in cases of COVID-19 in our area. So we don't have a date nailed down yet as to when we will be worshiping together in person, but I can assure you we'll give you enough advance notice. We'll be taking some precautions that you'll hear about in the coming weeks to ensure that everyone is staying socially distant and healthy and those kinds of things. So just stay patient with us. We do thank you for your flexibility and your patience with us on this, as we are going through some uncharted waters and trying to consider some things that a lot of us would have never dreamed of having to make those decisions. So again, thank you for your flexibility and your patience with us, and we can't wait to be back together again. Continue to serve in any way that you possibly can. Be the missionaries and the ministers in the neighborhoods and in the context that God has placed you in, and we'll be soon together. So let's be the church scattered until it can be the church gathered. We love you, Faith family, and we hope to see you soon.